Welcome to Stonewatch. Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 9, The Marshal is Here. Written and directed by Jon Favreau, starring Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin the Mandalorian. We have a runtime of 54 to 55 minutes, and I say that because when I first looked at it Friday morning on Disney Plus, it said 54 minutes. But when I went to go watch it later on after work, it said 55. So did we gain a minute throughout the day? Anyway, this is the longest chapter we've gotten so far throughout the whole series. Chapter 8 from Season 1 comes in second with 49 minutes. Now, without getting a heavy spoiler, right off the bat, I want to say I liked this episode a lot. It was just plain out awesome. Now, there was tons of Easter eggs throughout, and I had to say, knowing how they filmed Season 1 using the volume really makes me watch this episode and wonder. Doesn't take me out of it, just makes me wonder how they did it this time. And I'm hoping that we're going to get another Disney gallery for this season so we can find out. We start with a Season 1 recap. Haven't already done my rewatch beforehand. I almost skipped it, but then I decided I'm going to watch it anyway. And I'm glad I did because it kind of helped set the mood. Not that I needed any help in that regard, but you know what I'm saying. Now, I really love how Favreau brings everything from Legends to current expanded universe along with new stuff wrapped in this Western samurai feel into this show. It's just amazing, man. It's just awesome how he does that. Now I'm going to heavy spoiler territory, so if you have not watched Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 9, thanks for watching at this point. Please subscribe, go watch, and come back so you can join the discussion. The actual first scene for Season 2 is Mando walking out of the darkness up to the buildings with all of the graffiti on it, which we find out is the planet where the Gamorrean UFC fight is happening. And we meet the one-eyed alien that we saw in the trailer, Core Crush, voiced by John Leguizamo, which I did not recognize his voice at all. Mando then asks him where he can find other Mandalorians. Crush tries to double-cross Mando, but that does not work out well for him or his goons. We get to see the Singing Birds weapon in action again, and Crush tells Mando while hanging upside down of another Mandalorian on Tatooine. So we go back to the planet where Star Wars began in 77. Amy Sedaris returns as Pale Moto. Now I have to say her lines were better this time around, and I think she's the first one to ever mention the Force by name on this show. Let me know down below if I'm right or wrong. I thought for a minute he was going to leave the child with her while he went off on his mission to find this other Mando, but he does not. And she shows him the location of Mos Pelgo, the city he's looking for, with the help of R5-D4. Now that's the red and white astromech droid from A New Hope. With a handful of jokes of hinting at a bad motivator, R5 projects a map of Tatooine before the war between the Empire and Rebels, where Moto points out the town's location. Using the same speeder bike from Season 1, Chapter 5, we travel to Mos Pelgo, where Cobb Vanth, played by Timothy Oliphant from Justified and Deadwood, is the town's marshal. Man, I am glad that this casting rumor turned out to be true on both accounts. Now, Vanth is a side character from the Aftermath trilogy books that pick up right after the events of Return of the Jedi. I'm currently going back through the trilogy on audiobook read by Mark Thompson. I have to say, when Vanth first appears in the doorway of the cantina, I had three reactions. Shocked and excited to see Boba Fett's armor again, and I just had to laugh because, man, it looked just way too small on Cobb Vanth's body. Maybe that's just me. And it also looked like it was only the helmet and the upper section of the armor. Now, one of the things that they do really well on this show is they are able to convey the emotion and facial expressions through Mando's helmet, because you can almost feel and see the shock on Mando's face when Vanth takes off the helmet in the cantina. Mando then insists on Vanth giving up the armor one way or the other. As a classic Western gunfight is about to happen, the ground starts to shake and there's this loud rumble. Vanth kind of comically pauses the fight to look outside, and we see, at least for my first time, a crate dragon. I don't know why I always thought they flew like the dragons in D&D, but I guess it makes more sense with the intense heat due to having two suns, them traveling underground. Vanth then makes a deal with Mando, help hunt down and kill the crate dragon in exchange for him giving up the armor. Mando agrees and says he will get the crest and shoot it. Vanth says no good, the dragon will feel the vibration from the ship and stay underground. When asked what then, he says, I know where it lives. En route, on what looks like a speeder bike frame grafted to a pod racer engine, he tells Mando the story of how he got the armor from Jawas after narrowly escaping from the mining collective who took over the town in the wake of the destruction of the second Death Star and Empire leaving Tatooine, which is an expanded and visually fleshed out version of how it was described in the Aftermath books. They come across some Tusken Raiders who say they want to help kill the dragon. Now, I wonder if this is the same tribe from Season 1, Chapter 5. Let me know down below what you think. Vanth is reluctant to accept their help, but Mando convinces him it's the only way. And like Chapter 4 from Season 1, we have to recruit the town to help fight also. Again, I'm hoping for another gallery series so they can tell us how they did this sequence because the effects are just so cool. Crate dragons, we find out, don't breathe fire. Another Earth D&D myth. They spew out, gross as it sounds, I know, know, some kind of acid. After they tried to lure the dragon on some explosives underground to kill it fails, Mando and Vanth come face to face with the dragon. And with a kind of funny nod to Boba Fett's last scene in Return of the Jedi, Mando hits Vanth's jetpack to get him out of the way so he can get, along with the more explosives, swallowed by the dragon, and he sets it off and finally kills the dragon. Afterwards, we see the raiders hacking away at the dragon's remains for meat. Mando even has a pretty big chunk on the back of his bike as he gets ready to leave. Vanth then gives him the armor and says, "I hope we get to meet again." Mando agrees, then head back to the crest. Then the camera cuts to a figure watching from a distance, and it's none other than Boba Fett himself, played by Tamara Morrison. Man, I hope this is not the last time we see him, but that was just awesome, and it confirms that was him at the end of Chapter 5, and Boba Fett, finally now, in canon, is alive. Man, I'm sure I missed some stuff, but I plan on going back and rewatching this quite a few times before next Friday. So what did you think about this episode? What are your thoughts about Cobb Vanth, originally a novel character, now live action? And how cool was that to see Boba Fett again? That was just totally awesome in my book. So let me know what you think in the comments down below.